Alright guys, so clearly I'm not in the best condition to be working on the cars today, as you can tell. What's going on, guys? Today we are back on the 2JZ E46 and we're finally going to close it up this video.
Psych!
We got a lot of new parts in, thanks in part to our sponsor. But before we get into all that, please do us a favor, subscribe to the channel and make sure you give this video a thumbs up. We're starting to do pretty good, working our way into the YouTube algorithms, and we want to keep that momentum going. So if you haven't subscribed already, please do. And if you have subscribed, go ahead and click the notifications icon. That way you can stay up to date as we post videos. Every week, video happens. So please just keep checking us out, and thanks for the support again. All right, guys, so clearly I'm not in the best condition to be working on the cars today, as you can tell. I had a little bit of an accident at work. No big deal. I'm just going to be stuck on these walking sticks for another couple weeks, and then I'll be in this brace for another month or so. Either way, still going to get the stuff done. Let me show you what we got in from our sponsor, Mishimoto. Alright, so now's a good time to give you a look of the stuff we got from Mishimoto. First off, you see we got our shop banner now. I don't know if this is going to be the place we keep it, just because it's also kind of like my carbon fiber section right here. So I might move it, but that doesn't matter right now. Next up, we got our 4-inch thick core intercooler. Let's see how wide that is. I've got a pretty big hand, being about 6'3", so. Our oil cooler, a couple of couplers, fittings. This one's unique because it allows us to put our air intake temperature sensor mounted right there. More couplers. We got a 3-inch to 2-inch, just because this intercooler has 3-inch sides, but our turbo is a 2.5-inch pressurized side. Then more 3-inch piping. Here, not from Mishimoto, but still something we're working on. We've got our heater valve. This is the original BMW heater valve, and this is going to be used to see if we can't get heat in the car still. Got another 90-degree elbow from JDM Sport. Same one we had, except now it's 3 3/4 to 3-inch instead of 3 3/4 to 2.5-inch. Some AEM sensors. One of these is our ambient. This one's our air intake temp sensor. This one's our oil pressure our oil temperature sensor. And we got that because that's going to work with the M3 gauge cluster that we got in the car now. In here, actually, can't remember what's in that box right now, but doesn't matter, because right now we're going to focus on the temp sensor. See all of our stuff. This should be going in, and again, the car should be closed up pretty soon. All right, now so we're going to take our AEM oil temperature sensor and we're going to fit it into our sandwich plate. It's really the only place I have that I can put it in there without tapping a new hole somewhere. Yeah, I just don't want to tap a hole. So we're going to use that. I know there's some concerns about using too many things coming off of the sandwich plate. However, I don't need an oil temperature sensor per se to keep the engine from going crazy. It's just something to have a little more data. I know we're using AEM, even though I've got an ECU Masters ECU. It should work with it. It should, actually, I think the calibration file is already in the ECU for AEM, and this happens to be the connector that my harness is wired for. So we're going to get this, or try to get this broken off. I'm pretty sure I sealed that up with thread sealer before. Or did I? No, I don't think I did. Now the AEM sensor already has thread sealer on it, so I'm not going to add any. Just going to kind of measure. Make sure we're not. Work that in there. Boom. Over there. I don't think it's bulging. I don't think it's making contact any too bad. So just to make sure, I'll pull it out. Inspect the end, and we're good. Boom. All right, so now that end should just plug in just fine to my harness, and that's really it. I want to hold on to these wiring bits just in case I ever have to splice my harness for whatever reason. And it's always just nice to have those spare parts. I can always use this connector for something else because it looks to be the same as intake temperature sensors. And we'll get this thrown back in the car. I'll probably do that off camera. You guys are all smart. You know how sandwich plate goes in, and you know how to plug in the connector. So here's kind of the comparison between the two intercoolers. This one is the first intercooler I got. It was like an eBay special or Amazon special. I think it's the EMUSA or EMUSA, however you pronounce that. But we can already see the size difference as far as the front surface area. Of course, the Mishimoto is about twice the size. Then you can also see kind of the thickness difference between that 4-inch thick core and that that's probably what, 1.5 inches. I don't know if you guys can see that, but it's 2.23. We'll leave some margin of error, say it's 2.25. All right, now our Mishimoto, let's see, 3.9775. So yeah, we'll say a good true 4 inches. So that's good to know that at least the advertised size is exactly what I'm getting. It should support all of our power goals. They're rated all the way up to 1,000 horsepower, and people are claiming over 1,000 horsepower with that same intercooler. I'm not sure how accurate that is. One thing I am sure about though is that we're going to have to cut up the front bumper bar some. So now we just got to throw this on there. We'll mock it up so that I can get the intercooler piping mapped out, then also find out where we're going to put our yellow or gold oil cooler. That one's a lot thinner than the one that I had before, but we're going to save space. I don't think oil cooling's that big of an issue just yet. So we'll take care of that, get that knocked out, and hopefully this should be it. So I did it off screen, but I finally got the radiator mounted in. I just popped in a couple rib nuts, one on this side, one on the other side. But that's in place. I'll probably still add a little bit up here to tuck it, but it's good. So now we can take this front core on and off without taking the radiator, having the radiator fall completely out. We're good on clearance here. Even back here, it doesn't make contact because the base actually hits the power steering pump before it hits that pulley. One thing I am concerned about looking at it now is whether or not this fill point is going to be above the highest point on the system. I'm going to have to work something out to get that, to make sure that the high point is right here and not on the back end of the engine where the heater stuff's gonna work. All right, so we're gonna start off by chopping off the lower bolts. There's one right here, one on the other side. I probably could have just pushed them out the back, put them in the press. We're just gonna take a cut-off wheel to it. So got our cuts. Hopefully that's going to be enough right there. I'm not sure if I'm going to have to trim some out on this side right here. I know I will have to trim out some on the edge right here and on the bottom side. Same thing with this side. I'm going to trim a little bit of this lip off on the top and bottom side. So next up is to get the intercooler mounted, probably set it on the jack. Try to fit it in here, see what else needs to be cut. Take a paint marker, mark it out, then hopefully pull the entire bumper off and then cut it that way. All right, you can see we got our first bit of contact on the edges here. So I'm gonna grab a paint marker. I think I can get away with just trimming out the bottom lip. All right, so we got our paint lines kind of drawn out. First section we're gonna cut out. We got the same thing on the other side. Let's see if we can't notch just this area out to clear that. But our second problem I can see already is we're gonna have to notch this stuff out too. Same thing on this side, but at any rate, we're gonna go ahead, pull everything back off, chop this up. I gotta take that serial number or the data plate, register this for the warranty for the time that I inevitably do something to completely this intercooler up. Hopefully we'll get it on camera.
Rise on the track.
Alright, so we got everything mounted up front. Intercooler's tucked in there. This isn't the bumper I'm going to use. This is kind of a throwaway bumper just for fitment and clearance, but we see. Got it. Took some shaving of these bolts down right here. Cut off the edge of this core support as well. But you can see everything tucks flush under the bumper, so I don't have to worry about smashing it up when I'm hitting those little parking blocks or whatever. Still got to actually fasten the oil cooler on, but for the most part, that's taken care of. We're good there. Still got to run the piping for it, but that's going to come at a little bit later time.